Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for attending. This is Brian Alley with the Northeast region. Today's webinar, Increasing DIA Sales. We are going to get started right away. You can enter your questions there in the Q&A function. All lines will be muted for the duration of the call. Before we go ahead and get things started, we'll go ahead and have John Peterson set us off. John, are you there?
Hey, thanks, Brian. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your time. We completely understand that taking 45 minutes out of your day is a challenge, and so we do everything we can to make sure that it's the value or the information that you're looking for. Let's talk quickly about the state of the business. Volkswagen new vehicle sales are up 31%, and I'm sure you're feeling that at your dealership. You know, you're doing more PDIs than you ever have. You're coming off the summer where you had some capacity challenges with technicians on vacation, consultants on vacation, and yet an increase in sales. So we understand what you're up against, and again, excuse me, being up 31% and leading the industry is a fantastic job. With regard to service and parts, we're not quite there. We came off record years in 21 and 22. 23 was pretty close to 22, and this year we've worked pretty hard every month, all the way up through to where we are today. But one thing that hasn't kept pace is accessories, and especially in the last 90 days. So while we're selling more new vehicles, and again, an astonishing 31% up, the accessory sales have not kept pace with last year, the year before, or even going back to 2018 when we were $85 a vehicle. This month we were tracking around $70 for PNVR, $77, I guess, PNVR. That doesn't take into account a 25% inflation or price increases, 5 price increases in the past 2 years. So folks, the value is still there with regard to accessories. We're selling more and more vehicles. We're selling more vehicles where customers need accessories, not tchotchke stuff, but need accessories. They need roof cross rails, they need bumper dillo, they need trunk mats, they need rubber mats. This is the stuff that is the personalization that they need to protect their investment. We need to make sure that that's communicated throughout the sales process. We know that 80% of accessories are sold on the showroom floor during the sales process, 20% on customer pay repair orders. So it's the old 80-20 rule, but we're all a part of it. And so where I'm going with this is there's an abundance of resources, an abundance of tools. What is needed is a good internal meeting with all of the management team at each dealership, come up with a written plan of attack for accessories, communicate that to all of communicate that to all of your employees, and then literally going after that plan every single month. So again, abundance of tools. We need the execution to take place. Brian has got some incredible content that talks about all of that today. And so with that, I'll hand it back to Brian.
Great, thanks very much, John. We wanted to take an approach with accessories at the dealership here, starting off with embracing DIA as a profit center. With that, then how do you do that? Well, you have to have a sustainable process for selling DIA. And then we're going to wrap up the presentation with marketing and selling tools for accessories. And Victor Martinez will be joining me for that segment to walk us through the many resources available to you. The DIA Profit Center is where I wanted to get started with this. The old way of thinking with accessories is that no one really needs it. The new way, and what we are starting to see more and more, is dealers that are embracing personalization. The customer's wants and needs to personalize their vehicles and set their Volkswagen apart from the crowd. The old way of thinking said it was, select few, the gearheads, the GTI guys that only bought accessories. I'll show you some numbers in a second that more than half of new vehicle owners will buy accessories in the first 120 days. And again, the old way of thinking with accessories, it's an obstacle, it slows down the sales process. And what we would like to show you is that accessories really are an opportunity, not only for increasing dealer profitability, but also customer satisfaction as well. The first number I wanted to hit you with is 200 billion. And that is the annual vehicle accessory sales number, and that number continues to climb and will be over 300 billion in the next 10 years. What we have learned, though, is about half of those sales are lost to the aftermarket, according to NADA. When our dealers sell, our Volkswagen dealers, the average gross retention is 24%. Which is decent, but when you factor in our accessory performance bonus, that retention climbs to in excess 50%. So it's very profitable to sell accessories. The average dealer is on track through Q3 to earn more than $20,000 in APB accessory bonus. And that is cash. Those aren't credits or rebates or anything like that. That's $20,000 cash coming to the dealer bottom line. What we just mentioned, 50% of new vehicle customers consider accessories in the first 120 days. So that's your window, and that's your real opportunity with new vehicle sales customers. And that makes sense because when we look at the sales of accessories in the dealership, 80% of them are coming through the sales department. So that's why we are talking about getting everyone in the dealership involved, sales, service, and parts, working together to take advantage of the opportunity to sell to those customers within the first few months of ownership. Now, while vehicles are being held on to longer and longer, I believe the average year of a vehicle right now, it's more than 12 years old. The new vehicle owners will, about 2/3 of them will come in and purchase another vehicle from you within the next 5 years. These are NADA stats. And so that means that's not only repeat business for your new vehicle department, but of course for accessories as well. Typically, those customers are spending $300 to $800 on accessories, and the average truck customer can spend upwards of $1,500. And that's important for us to realize also because not long ago, we weren't selling many SUVs, and now we are a majority SUV company. Some of the benefits, how some of those numbers translate to you and your dealership is, again, the profit, the bottom line gross, not only selling the accessory and the APB money, but the service department can get in, all departments can benefit, F&I and sales as well. When you add profitability and especially on the fixed side, you do increase the ability to absorb expenses. Another benefit is culture. Adding to a sales environment, adding fun and enthusiasm, not only for your customers, but also for your staff as well. And those things lead to retention. Customer satisfaction. We just said customers are looking for and they have a desire to personalize their vehicles. Instead of making them go elsewhere for these items, you can be their one-stop shop. You could be everything Volkswagen for them, not just provide them with their new vehicle, not just provide them with their service and maintenance, but with the ability to personalize their vehicle and to supply them with functional accessories like transport accessories. Employee satisfaction is another another benefit here because when you add the WIFM, if you can set up a process properly and you spiff some of these your staff, you will get some satisfaction as well there. There's probably not a better example of promoting a culture of fun and enthusiasm than the new ID Buzz that's coming out soon. and the long list of upcoming accessories. I mean, you talk about wants and needs. No one, there is real no need for this vehicle. This is all want, right? And it's a great looking vehicle. Tons of great accessories coming out. The vehicle wraps, the standard, again, functional accessories like mats and transport items, but also a bunch of fun items coming out as well. Now, getting into DIA as a profit center, DIA is an opportunity to generate revenue and profit by not only fulfilling the customer's wants and needs for functional accessories like transport items, but also for personalization. If you can create a sustainable process to meet these needs, then you can build and grow DIA as a profit center in your dealership, and not just think of accessories as a way to slow down the process, but actually to enhance the sales process. The DIA as a profit center is just one part of our philosophy on selling accessories. We mentioned SUV owners and how they love accessories. It's now greater than 75% of our mix of new vehicles sold are SUVs. And what we've found and what we've seen is that any dealership can grow their accessory business. When they have a plan and when they execute and stay with their plan, they are able to grow their business. Some of our dealers have started out just with the basics. We call it the easy three. These are our top 3 selling items: roof crossbars, bumperdillo, and the monster mats. These are items that customers see. They're functional. They see it. They see the value in it. And it is a way to get the ball rolling if your dealer needs a kickstart with selling accessories. I want to get into the process because I know that many of you are listening right now and would like to sell more accessories, but it can't be done with just one person. This webinar is directed to our parts managers, but I know you need a little bit of help. You need help from your service manager, your sales manager, probably your general manager as well, to get things moving. So just getting down to the fundamentals of selling DIA, you do need that buy-in. And I mentioned the dealer managers, but it really starts at the top. The owner needs to buy in and needs to understand just what these opportunities are and what's at stake as far as customer satisfaction goes and dealer profitability. We talked a little bit about the consultants, both service consultants and sales consultants and parts consultants can get in on the action as well. The customers, of course, need the buy-in to see the value and the convenience of the accessories that you're selling. As we move on to just some of the basics of retail, it just starts with stocking what you intend to sell. When you stock it, customers are more inclined to say yes when you can say yes to them, and when you can hand them that accessory, when you can install it for them that afternoon and they can roll out of the dealership with it. It eliminates the whole we owe obstacle of getting accessories onto vehicles. So, another basic item is marketing and display, which we'll talk about in a second. Pricing and payment options, of course. And then finally, inspect what you expect. If you want to keep this process going, if you want it to be something repeatable and sustainable, use something like a DIA checklist, which we'll show you an example of in a second. Schedule regular meetings with all of the department heads and all the stakeholders. And then don't be afraid to make changes. If something's not working, change it, mix it up a little bit, and move on to something that does work for you and for your store. Just again, going back to basics, when customers see accessories, they want them, they buy them. The dealers that have the greatest success with DIA are the ones that spend a little bit of time investing in display and merchandising, and that is part of their process for selling. Some of our dealers are in states that require a Monroney addendum. We call them magic pockets, or at least you can go right to our accessory catalog, our online accessory catalog, and create one of these. So if you're displaying a vehicle for sale on the showroom floor, you can go ahead and attach an addendum. Our system allows you to not only add the Volkswagen accessories, like here in this example, the hood deflector and sunshades and the Thule rack there. You could also add items that are not Volkswagen accessories. For example, if your dealership sells window tint or ceramic paint protection, that sort of thing, you can add it as a line item on the addendum and go ahead and give a bottom line price here to the customer and have it displayed nicely on the vehicle. As we get a little deeper into process, wanted to break this out to you by sales channels. Because when we talk about selling accessories, it's not just one thing and it's not just one department, and it isn't only one opportunity. There's a number of different opportunities to sell. And it starts, I'd say again, our number one opportunity, 80% of the sales right now are happening in the new and used car departments. Embrace the opportunity that's there. We laid it out for you in the beginning. Use tools like the accessory configurator, which we'll cover off in a second, to offer accessories to customers. And how about making it a mandatory part of the sales process? We have some really successful dealers that have folded that into their process in the new car delivery and have used that to help drive DIA sales. For the used car department, we've had some examples of dealers using bumperdillo and trunk liners to cover up wear items on the vehicle. It makes the vehicles more attractive, and the customers see the value again in a brand new trunk liner, a bumperdillo that may be covering up some damage on the rear bumper. One of the best practices we've seen is really empowering the used car manager to establish a process like this and to keep it going and sustain it. The service department gets into the action with an introduction to after sales process, which we'll cover in a second. One of the best practices we've seen is incorporating a DIA strategy right into the PDI process. So that you have the vehicle in the shop only one time. You don't have to bring it back in later for an add-on or for WIO. Working with parts and sales on a fair labor rate. And again, getting the service consultants in on the action as well. The parts department, one of the main things that you can work on is attractive displays and merchandising. Setting competitive pricing and some specials every once in a while, and designating a DIA champion or somebody who really goes around the store helping to promote DIA, making sure displays are done right, pricing, and you have neat displays over in your driver gear area, that sort of thing. And there's also an opportunity for online DIA sales. We have some dealers doing really well when they maximize their online marketing, offering flex pay, pricing things right, shipping promptly, and following up with those customers just like you would a customer in your store. Here's an example of a DIA process with some best practices that's worked really well for a dealership. This is not something we created. This is an actual process used by a dealership, and you may even want to snap a photo of this process. It's something you may want to emulate and modify, maybe to use in your dealership, but I'm going to run through it briefly. The dealership that I'm talking about here, they always have an accessorized vehicle, at least 3 of them on their showroom floor with the addendums we just talked about. Sales consultants are required to show the accessory configurator to all the customers. The deal jacket contains a sign-off verifying that the accessories were offered to the customer. If not, the sales consultants don't get paid their commissions. Spiffs are paid to everybody in the dealership for selling accessories. In this case, they're paying 7% of everything, including not only vehicle accessories, but anything in the boutique, including driver gear, hats, shirts, mugs, etc. There's also a spiff pool that they'll use to incentivize the top seller for the month. Accessory sell sheets is another thing that's used throughout each of the departments, but also with the sales consultant. The national DIA rebate, and that's usually either 10 or 15% that Volkswagen funds to help promote DIA sales. That is always leveraged by the sales team as well. And then, of course, getting in on some e-commerce online sales, either with our Simple Parts store or eBay and Amazon. So as you can see here, much of this is focused on the sales department, because that's where the greatest opportunity lies. But there are, as we mentioned before, other opportunities to use a process to drive your DIA business. One of the things to consider also with sales is your digital retailing tool, which most dealers now incorporate into the new vehicle delivery process. And accessories can and should be folded into this process as an easy way to offer DIA to your new vehicle customers. One other way we could help with a process here for selling accessories is introduction to after sales. We often talk about this when we want to introduce customers over to our service team. We want to schedule that first appointment for their maintenance and make sure they come in, they know where to go, know where the service drive is. Accessories can be another way that you can incorporate an introduction to after sales. We have $25 gift cards that can be used with that can be obtained through driver gear, and it's something that you can put in a customer's hand and walk them over, introduce them to parts. Some of our dealers do have gift bags that they give away with maybe like a hat or a water bottle, that sort of thing. And they can offer a sell sheet like the one you're seeing on the left there, which will have some model-specific accessories. It'll have some suggestions. And from what we've heard, these $25 gift cards, the average spend on these gift cards are actually over $100. So the dealers are actually netting out when the customers are using them. Another driver gear tool that you can use here is if you're doing any sort of dealer event, especially something related to, say, technician recruitment or having service clinics or a customer appreciation event, you can get customizable driver gear, which has your dealer name and information on there. You can order it right through the driver gear site. Anything ordered through driver gear does count towards your DIA PNVR. It is considered a DIA accessory. It helps with you achieve your accessory bonus. So just something to consider, not something we need you to go out and do necessarily just because you can, but if it helps you with an event, it helps promote your store. Those tote bags are very popular. I got to say, with our sales managers, from my understanding, love these tote bags with the dealer name on it, because what they're used for, especially the customers love them when they're getting out of their old vehicle and they're getting into their new car. The tote bags are used to transfer over their personal items, and it's a handy tool. It's got the dealer name on it, and they don't cost much. They cost a few dollars. So just something to consider here, and it helps. Every little bit helps, again, with your accessory sales. Just a little quick plug for the driver gear. We do have some new items coming out. I talked about some of the ID Buzz items. Just something to consider. Again, we were talking about display a minute ago, and we want to make sure that things are fresh. It is fall officially, and we want to perhaps get some things themed for the fall there in our driver gear boutiques. We have a customer appreciation special that is coming out in a couple of weeks, and then the winter gear that is launching there in November. Last thing I wanted to mention with process is just to consider the accessory bonus between DIA and MDO, and 15% is earned quarterly on all DIA and MDO purchases. The average dealer, as I mentioned, is going to earn about $20,000 for the first 3 quarters, and does increase the margin and go to the bottom line. The last day to order for the 3rd quarter and have the accessory count towards your APB would be this Friday. Just one quick note on the MDO, the port install accessories. Sometimes we do have constraints, and it does limit our ability to fulfill the MDO at the ports, and we do get updated lists, and your FOM has a list that's specific by VIN to your store on which vehicles that would normally have floor mats, but we were unable to get them in the vehicle. You would get a list of those vehicles and be able to add them as a DIA item. So 1, you don't miss out on the sale, and 2, it helps you with your APB bonus. The DIA check sheet is something we came up with in the Northeast region. It is a way to help engage the management team as you walk through the store and you check everything that's going on with what your customers are seeing as far as accessories in the showroom, the waiting area, and all around the store. Something we would encourage you to use if it's an easy way to get things started with selling DIA in your store. And if you don't have a copy of this, you can ask your FOM or one of us here on this call, and we could supply that to you. We're going to move into the last section, which is marketing and sales tools specific to accessories. I'm going to hand you off to Victor Martinez, who's going to walk you through the marketing section, and it's something that I really want our parts managers to pay attention to, because our parts managers can and should be a little bit more involved with our marketing, and here's a great way to jump into that. Victor.
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon, everyone. So I want to take a few minutes to just kind of lay out what we, from the brand and your partner's perspective, do to really set up making these accessories available to you and to your customers. And it typically does start years in advance. What you're looking at here on the slide in the upper left-hand corner is basically a schedule of all of the redesigns, facelift, new models that are scheduled to come out. We track this on an ongoing basis with the intent of making sure that when we actually bring those vehicles to market, whether it just be a simple refresh or we're introducing a brand new vehicle like the Buzz that's coming out, that we have all of those items set up for you. It then translates over into a lot of the photography that you start to see populated all across the board in a number of different platforms. We make those photos available to you as well, so that you can start circulating them locally. Here's a great example of what's coming out for the Buzz in terms of the tow hitch and having that capability of really extending the experience into the lifestyle, which is really what accessories is about. It's about personalizing it. The other things that we do on your behalf really pertains to the properties that we own. We allow you, in an essence now, starting with the Jetta Refresh, to basically print as many of, or request as many of the brochures around accessories as you would like. In the past, it was typically a bulk order. We've modified that. You can also do that for previous models. And then in terms of populating these accessories by the models out across the different properties, our brand store automatically gets updated. For those of you that are partnering with us in Simple Part through the online parts store, again, they're made available on the platforms turnkey. You don't have to do anything on your end. We then put some financial support behind it through the rebate redemption programs. Again, we typically run something every single quarter. Q4, it'll be a 10% discount on rebates that not that doesn't come out of your pocket, but rather something that the brand is paying for. And then the last item, which is something that Brian will talk a little bit more about here in a second, is around the accessory configurator. Again, we've built the actual application. It's available to you on your website. When Brian talked a little bit about making and introducing accessories and personalizing the vehicle, that is certainly one of the many ways that you can do it, and it lives right on your website. We've managed and we maintain updating it. All you simply have to do is make it available to your customers. So here we're showing you what we are doing on your behalf. Now what I want to do is I'm going to transition over and talk a little bit about what you can do, and I'm going to highlight one specific feature. Within Marketing IQ, which is our platform where you deploy targeted communications, there are two different types of on-demands that are specific to accessories. The first one is more of a general awareness broadcast communication that you can send out to your customers. Don't need to guess. We tie your customer base to these communications. There's a number of features and filters that you can use, but the net result is that you can get the messaging out there that your dealership, your parts counter offers accessories. The second one is a little bit different. This allows you to further customize the communication that you're sending out. Maybe you're heavier on the SUV segments and you want to promote something very specific, something around comfort or safety. What it allows you to do is use a configuration tool within the actual build to select those specific items so that you can get it out to your customers. So it's more about personalizing the communication to allow your customers to basically personalize that vehicle and that experience for themselves. Again, something that's available to everyone. We fund all of the agency costs. All you simply have to do is determine who you want to target it to, and obviously the communication costs will be spelled out for you. So a couple different ways, but more importantly, we just want you to know that we put a lot of support around accessories with the planning and then ultimately with the tools that we give to you. And I think Brian's going to take a minute to talk a little bit more about the configurator. Brian?
Thanks, Victor. Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't think there is a single tool that sums up and ties together everything we've been talking about so far more than the accessory configurator. It's a fun, it's an interactive way for customers to fulfill their needs and wants, but also to just discover all the many different accessories that are available for their Volkswagen. It's perfect for new vehicle customers that are waiting for their paperwork. You can put an iPad in front of them or walk them over to that, what we call the EV screen, even though it's more than an EV screen now. The customer can go in and see what's available, get an installed price, email their salesperson a list of those items and figure out whether or not they can actually get those items installed on their vehicle today. Every dealer has access to this tool at no charge, but not every dealer has this on their sites. It's a little underutilized. It's a great tool. I'd encourage you to please take a look at your website and make sure at the very least, the accessory configurator is a link from your parts and service area. I would highly recommend also linking it from your new and used car tabs as well. If you don't have those links available on your site, Shift Digital, the VDC, Volkswagen Digital Consultant, can be contacted and they can go ahead and get that set up for you. And again, it's no charge. They just need to be told to put it there for you. The pricing is fully customizable. The parts and the labor and the time units and all that. There is a knowledge base. You can go to our through SimplePart. You don't have to be a SimplePart store. You can go through our accessory e-catalog and you can get some information there. And just finally, there's other ways to promote the configurator by putting QR codes on your invoices or promoting it on your social media, or we've seen some dealers have some success that way as well. Some of the top searched items you see there, the top vehicles, are SUVs, Atlas, Tiguan, ID4, and a lot of customers looking for base carrier bars. Like I said, that is our top selling accessory. Just a summary here of many of the things that Victor was talking about, the accessory configurator we were talking about, but just a number of selling resources that are out there or available through our online accessory catalog. We talked about the Magic Pockets. There are also sell sheets that you can create, some in-store marketing and price tags. The DIA consumer rebate, please remember to use that. That's always available, and nothing the dealer has to do on their part. It's something funded by Volkswagen, and it's a way for a customer to get back up to 15% of their DIA purchase. The Simple Part online accessory store is another way for you to generate revenue. Of course, you can be selling online on other platforms, but we help support it there. And offering some flexible payment options, always a great idea. Marketing IQ, Victor walked you through the number of different resources there as well. And then we talked a little bit about the digital retailing in your store and how that can help sell some accessories as well. If you have any questions on any of these items at all, please reach out to me, to Victor, and we will address them with you. And with that, I am going to hand it over to John Peterson, who is going to sum things up for you.
Hey, thanks, Brian. So Brian and Victor, great job. So folks, the challenge here is as I talked about earlier, is developing a plan for the entire dealership and writing it down and communicating it to everybody. And so this is going to require, in many cases, thinking differently, thinking bigger about accessory sales and profits. $20,000 of bonus money on average per dealer is huge. That is net profit. Go ahead and do the math. Determine to generate $20,000 in profit. What do you need in sales, and what do you need in gross in which to make that happen? So if nothing else, and you're chasing the money, chase the bonus, chase the $20,000. However, let's get holistically back to its wants and needs in the customer. And so again, it's thinking differently, thinking bigger, and it's having a good plan. The other thing is share and leverage the fact that over 50% of our sales come from SUVs. Guys, back in 2018, we had Jetta, we had Passat, we had Golf Wagon. We are now SUVs with Taos, Tiguan, and with Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport. And so those customers absolutely require those type of items to assist them with protecting the vehicle, and also for taking trips and doing what they may with it, with cross rails and stuff like that. SUV customers personalize their vehicles far greater than sedan customers. It adds convenience, functionality, and value to the owner's lifestyle. The other thing that I'd strongly encourage is we have a separate presentation and a separate kit that is about DIA as a profit center. And ask your SOM and FOM team to get together to schedule a meeting to present to the dealer management team, to your sales team. Have them walk through the examples that we have. There's a great example, if you haven't seen the one online about sell me this pen. It's not about you have to give away accessories, but it's about determining what the customer needs in their vehicle and with their accessories, and how to best position that, instead of I have to throw these things in on the deal in which to make it happen. Nothing further from the truth. If we're doing that, then we're not doing the right thing. We're not thinking differently. We're simply being lazy. And so this is requiring a mindset change. And then the last thing, I encourage you to do a walkthrough your dealership. Do an assessment of your accessory displays. Make sure that you're using the DIA checklist. Be very, very open-minded. Be very critical. See what the customer sees, not what you walk by every day. So listen, abundance of tools and resources, but it comes down to having a plan, writing it down, sharing it with your employees, and then executing what the plan is. So with that, Brian, I think the next slide is probably Q&A. And yeah, there we go. It's myself, Brian, and Victor. So any questions? And right now, Brian, I don't see any under the chat. So
no, I don't see any in the chat yet either, but we will hold on. Folks, if you do have any questions on anything we presented, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A section.
I guess, well, Brian, while we've got an open mic, you know, the folks that, and so this is obviously an audience that was aimed at parts managers. those of you that are on the East Coast, there's a couple of things that are being discussed. Hurricane, I believe it's Helene, and what disruption that may cause. It certainly will be further south than it is north. However, we do have some dealers that are serviced out of Knoxville, so we're staying on top of that. I've seen a couple of communications this afternoon there. There's also discussion about a strike at the port in the greater New York City area. And we're aware of what the situation is there. It's still a few days off. If it may happen, there's no indication right now that it's strongly going to be that way. Joe Kissinger is staying in touch, with the port people on a regular basis, in which to see which way it's leaning. We do not encourage you to order up, because there's nothing that says that needs to happen. If you listen, if this was sales, I would encourage you to order up to make the month end, make the quarter end. But listen, let's run our business the way that we do. Let's not live and die by 30-day cycles. We've got 12 months in the year. It's a marathon, and it's not a 12-month sprint. But if you feel the need, please do. But I just thought I would talk about those two topics while I had an open mic. So, Brian, I don't see any other questions. Is there anything that you or Victor, somewhat related, want to talk to everybody about?
No, there's no questions, but I just wanted to leave everybody with, again, it's the end of the quarter. The accessory, we do talk about the accessory bonus, and I mentioned, you have about another day or so to do something to influence that number. Please remember, as new vehicles are punched, as we ramp up our new vehicle sales, as we usually do at the end of the month, that your DIA PNVR does drop, and it's just math, and that's fine. Just as we've been talking about earlier, make sure you're communicating with the sales team and you have an idea of how many new vehicles are going out the door before the end of the month. That will help you plan, and it'll help you to know where your DIA number needs to be to maximize that APB. Leveraging that APB, getting back up to 15% every quarter can help. I did mention leveraging. One of the things I forgot to mention, actually, is that many of our dealers are using APB dollars, the cash that's coming in every quarter, thousands of dollars. A lot of it's going to the bottom line. That's great. Some of them are reserving a portion of it and using it for a marketing budget, helping to fund some of maybe those items we were talking about, like the driver gear items and the customer appreciation gifts, that sort of thing. So it's something to consider with the accessory bonus as we are about to close the quarter out.
Yeah, I can't touch on that enough, Brian, because Monday is the close, right? So our week ends tomorrow. Our last audit trail will be on the 28th, but the new vehicle sales close is Monday. And so, we talk all the time about the easy three, the roof rails, the bumpertillo, and the rubber mats. Guys, there's no labor involved with any of those whatsoever. So it's not something that if the sales team is a little nervous about having a fully accessorized vehicle on the showroom floor, we need to know that, so that we can go in and have a conversation as to what the value is there. But the second part is, all right, if they're not going to do it until we can have a conversation with them, then let's do everything you can to make sure that you've got those items in stock. And a great best practice Brian shared earlier is used car reconditioning. Internal repair orders are up 12% year over year. New vehicle sales up 31%. So you're seeing an increase in used vehicles to be reconditioned. Gosh, have it set up where that person is empowered in which to put a set of rubber mats in every vehicle, or put a bumpertillo on every vehicle. It's absolutely crucial to do that. So that way you don't have to bounce back and forth between the person doing the reconditioning to the parts department to the sales manager. It's written, it's out there, and we know what's going to happen, and you've got them in inventory and ready to sell. So yeah, please take advantage of that.
Okay, John, I think we are going to wrap things up. Today's webinar, again, was a part of our ongoing educational series here aimed at parts managers, but welcome to all. We'll have our next one coming up on December 5th, where we'll be talking about some strategy for wintertime selling not only accessories, but parts and increasing parts sales during the cold season. Thanks very much for your time. If you have any questions, my contact information is there. I wanted to thank John for being here and Victor for your time as well. And thanks everybody, and have a great day.
Thanks, Brian. See you, everybody.